Hey there, it's Roslyn here. I hope you're doing well, and welcome to another Team Tiny Hop. For the theme this month, it is all about love. For my card today, I'm using a cat scrappiness stamp set called Valentine's Quackas, and I'm also using this die set from Waffle Flower, and it's called Lacy Layers 5x7. I'm taking the second biggest stitched rectangle from the set, which measures about 5 3/4 by 3 3/4, and this is where I'm going to be stamping my cute quackas. One of these quackas is looking super happy, and the other one is making a kissy face, so I thought that they could be snugged up together for a cute little love scene. I'm stamping this with Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink, which is alcohol marker friendly, and I'm stamping that on some Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock because I'm going to be doing some coloring and some stenciling, some ink blending, and I find it works really well for both. So I've stamped this guy a couple different times, and just to make him nice and crisp and dark, and I'm taking some full sticky back Post-it notes here, stamping it again. I didn't even re-ink that, but it gives just enough ink for me to see the outline of that where I need to cut around the mask. So I wanted to let you know a little bit more about Team Tiny. Team Tiny is a group of crafters on Facebook, and we meet once a month to provide these hops, and they usually have a theme. We are all under 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channels. So what that means is that you can hop along and there won't be any ads interrupting your viewing. It's a great way to get inspired and find some different crafters that you haven't met before and see what they have to offer. So all you have to do to hop along is click on the hashtag in my description or my title, Team Tiny Love Hop 2022, and that will bring up all of the participants in this hop. So I'm just setting my mask on that stamped image that I've already stamped down. And the reason why I have masked it is because I want that little quacka that is kissing to be in front of the other quacka. This way I can stamp the other quacka next to it and it will look like it is behind the other quacka. So I've stamped that second quacka down, and I'm going to stamp it again on the Post-it note tape here, and I'm going to cut around the black line of the image as close as I can get, and preferably on the black line itself so it is nicely masked and there's no white outline around it. And then I'm going to move on to blending my background. So for the background today, I'm using some Catherine Pooler inks in the colors Be Mine, Pixie Dust, and Serenade. I'm taking that Be Mine color and lightly blending it along the top of my card. I'm using these brushes that I got on Amazon, and I keep them for my dye-based inks and just have one brush per color family and sort of clean it off in between on a microfiber cloth. For the second color here, I'm going to blend that along the bottom. That is the Serenade. And I'm trying to be as light as possible, though I do tend to be heavy-handed with my blending. But just take your time and try to build up that ink. I want to keep the background lighter because I'm going to come over it with a stencil and use the same 3 colors, so I do want a bit of contrast. And then I'm blending my middle ink here, which is the Pixie Dust. And these don't have to be perfectly blended together because all of that will be hidden when I overlay this stencil on top. This stencil is from Not Too Shabby Shop, and it's called Lots of Love. And I got this in a Valentine's bundle, and these hearts just went perfectly with the card. They are very whimsical looking, but any heart stencil will do, and you can achieve the same look. So I'm going over the stencil and using the same colors in the same areas that I've already blended. And I'm just doing it a little bit heavier here. That way I get a nice contrast between what I've already blended and what I'm blending with the stencil. And it just gives a really subtle look. So it's sort of an ombre tone-on-tone look that you'll get for your background. And here is the big reveal. Love how that looks. Now I cut out another piece of cardstock with those 5x7 lacy layers, and this is the largest stitch rectangle, which is exactly 5 inches by 7 inches. And I'm bringing in this multi-layer stencil here by Lawn Fawn. It's called Plaid Stencil, and it allows you to customize any plaid background that you want. So taking the same Serenade, I've lined my stencil up in the bottom left corner. And because there's a panel over top that I'm going to be putting down, I don't have to go all the way into the middle of my card. I just have to concentrate on the edges. Now with this stencil, I find that I have to go with the stripes. Otherwise, it doesn't quite give a crisp image if you're going back and forth or in circles. So you want to just stick on those lines. Then I'm going to move my stencil over and continue on the right side of my card. And it lines up very easily if you line that up on the bottom of your card. Then I'm going to turn that stencil 90 degrees so that it's going the other direction. And I'm going to bring in the pixie dust color. So these are all 3 of the same colors as I used on my other panel. And again, I'm going back and forth along those lines and slowly building up the color. And again, we will move that stencil along, line up my lines from the stencil, and continue around the rest of the card. And I love how cheerful these colors look. And this card that I'm making today will be for my mom. It's not a romantic love card, but everyone needs to be known that they're loved. So I thought this was a super cute card to send to my mom. So for the second stencil, which has the wider stripes, I've lined that up in the lower left corner again. And as you can see, the blue lines are in behind where the stencil is. So it's very easy to line up and get it how you like it. And I'm using the same Be Mine ink, and that goes on super nicely here. And this doesn't have to be perfect because it is plaid, and you know, with plaid there's a lot of variations and you kind of want to see through the stripes. So it was super easy to use. I think this stencil is great for all occasions, summer, spring, Christmas even. It's great to have in your stash. So after that is finished, I will reveal these 2 little quackas and how the masks did their job. And I slowly peel that off, almost like you would be waxing. You don't want to pull up, you want to pull across your image so that you're not tearing up any of your paper underneath. Now I didn't color these during this video, but I will have another video showing you all how I colored these cute little quackas. So here is my 5x7 card base, and I'm going to attach that first 5x7 panel. And to make my 5x7 card bases, I take an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, and on the 11-inch side, I trim that down to 10 inches. And on the 8.5-inch side, I trim that down to 7 inches and then fold that in half. And then I just use the scraps from the sides that I've cut off for sentiments or little different die cuts that I'm going to be using today. This little die cut is from a Sunny Studios die set called Comic Strip Speech Bubbles. And I'm stamping Moi from the Quacka set in Drive-In ink because it's nice and dark. And I'm going to attach that on the right side there beside the Kissing Quacka. And then for a few little details, I've stamped and colored this cute bow from the Quacka set. I'm going to add that to the Kissing Quacka. And I've also cut out some hearts from another Sunny Studio die set called Stitched Hearts 2 die. And I love it because it gives you many hearts to cut out at once of all different sizes. And I'm going to add some above the kissing quokka, but also some above the other quokka, just to balance out the scene, because I put that speech bubble on the right. So if you are still here at the end of the video, I thank you so much for watching. If you'd love to see how I colored those quokkas, I have a video on my channel. I'll put the link in the description box below. The video for the hop, I didn't want it to be too long, and I also didn't want to rush through my coloring, so that's why I have separated that video out. And if you want to see a romantic love themed card, I also have another video with the Lawn Fawn stud puffin stamp on my channel, so please check that out too. And now that I have all of my hearts glued down there, that is it for my love theme card for this month. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Bye-bye.